ruin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, when she opened the door, did you talk with her? I mean, did you tell her anything about the events that happened, like Biggie had been shot or anything?
She's 73 years old, you know.
Oh, so
You know.
So
into rap music, huh?
No,
she was the only one up at that time?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you go head straight to your bedroom to go to bed?
Yeah.
Did you talk with anybody between upon entering the house? Did you speak to anybody, either in person or on the phone at all when you?
When I talked to Paula, I told her that Biggie got killed.
Okay. You and Paula slept in the same room together?
Yeah.
Okay. So you told Paula?
Say Biggie got killed. I don't know whether he got killed or not, you know.
So, did you talk to anybody else besides Paula?
Just us two.
Okay, Wonder Mike and Weedle.
Yeah, we was like, dang, that's messed up, you know.
Okay, from the time you were at was about ready to leave the party to the time you arrived home, the only people you talked to were Wonder Mike, Wendell, Paula's mom. You may not have said anything to Paula's mom. Okay, and then you talked to Paula.
Right.
Was there anybody else that you talked to?
But before we left, Keyshawn said he was going to some other party, and I'm going home.
Okay, which party was that?
I don't know, you know.
I don't know what party that was? Did Keyshawn ask you to go to that, or?
No, he just said he was going to the party, and I said,
Which party was that? Was this another
Another
after party?
Yeah, another after party.
Okay, do you know who held that party? Was it a star that had the party, or?
I don't know. It's at some mansion or something. I don't know.
At a mansion?
Yeah.
And where at?
And up there where the matches be. In
Beverly
Hills? Yeah, or Hollywood, whatever, I don't know. He just said he's going to a party.
Okay, and you had no idea where that party was? No.
No, I don't mean to rush, but I do have another appointment downtown at 6.
Okay.
Okay. If we want to talk to Keith in the future, we'll call you.
Sure. And also,
Yes, sir.
I have a key sister-in-law, her name is Gina David. He said that police have been going to her house, knocking at her door, looking for her, and she has nothing to do with this thing. She expressed
Yes.
She expressed concern about, work getting around that she's wanted for. So if I told her I'm going to
Where does
check
she
with
live?
you.
Let me ask you a question.
She lives in Norwalk.
No.
So I said I was going to check with you guys. If you guys want to talk to
Cooper
her, let
been
me
over
know.
there.
If not,
Oh, Cooper's over there?
Yeah, he's been over windows, he's been everywhere.
yeah, so.
Oh, no, Norwalk?
Yeah, it's in Norwalk.
Long Beach or
I
Norwalk.
think that's Norwalk.
Have you talked to Detective Cooper? You know?
Yeah, I talked to him on the phone. He said, man, we know you ain't did it, but we think you can clear up the air or something. I said, man, I can't get you know it.
When was that? When did you speak to Detective Cooper?
That was the day that Julian went over our house.
Pardon me? The day?
You were there when you remember y'all
Oh, yeah,
were there?
yeah. Oh, you talked to him?
I called him that day.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, now the point with Gina Davis is that I told her I'll check with you guys. If Detective Cooper goes there looking for her, she's not going to talk to Detective Cooper. I want Cooper to know that. If someone wants to talk to her, just call me.
Okay.
I'll make her available.
Okay.
But if someone goes there without, being clear, she's not going to talk to her anymore.
Okay. Okay, we have
Okay.
15 people working on this with us, and I...
Yeah, but I was up on the parking garage, man.
Okay.
I didn't see nothing or nothing. All I did was her
Okay.
ears.
Chris, real quick, and we'll get it. Okay, this is northbound up here. This is the museum right here. And this is the parking structure. This is Fairfax going north. This is the street. You said you were going south on Fairfax, then you pulled into the parking lot when you first got there?
Legal term, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Give me a ticket book. I'm going to take it right now.
Bill said that he's not a traffic cop. So
I'm ready to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you turned in here,
Yeah.
and you said, was it valet park?
Yeah, it was,
Okay, you
the valet
pulled-
pulled up in here, and the man was waiting right here with the valet.
Okay, so you got out here, then you went up to
There.
the park.
There's a lot of people there,
Right,
top of path, went on in there,
okay. Now, when you came out the same way?
same way.
Okay, down this door?
Now, it was the stairs with the rails,
Right.
we were standing right here.
Okay, when you came up, was Big E down here already?
Yeah, Big Eaton was in front, they was getting in their car.
Okay, they were parked here in front?
Yes,
Okay.
both of them was suburban.
Right, okay, both suburbs. And you know which one Biggie got into?
He got in the front one, and, the boy got in the back one. Then, Jermaine the Freeman then was behind them too.
Who was?
Jermaine the Freeman, the little guy,
Oh,
you know,
Damian?
his little crew, yeah, they
Right,
was.
Damian, okay, yeah. In a different car, right?
Yeah, I know some of them dudes there, I was hollering at them, whoop, whoop, and they left out. Me and Keefe was standing over here by the cars here, waiting on the man to come. Everybody ran in here, I didn't even hear no shots. I just see the crowd running, I was like, man,
Okay, had you received your car yet?
no,
Okay, so you were still going
there's
around?
no car yet.
Did you see them leave the area? Biggie and his entourage? You see pull out and?
Not really, I just seen a lot of cars just leaving.
Okay, so you saw them there and you just continued over?
Over there in my car, yeah.
Okay, and then approximately how long do you think it was when you saw them take off, that you saw these people come cattle rustling back in there?
Between the 5 and 10 minutes. It was quick.
And then that's when everybody comes running around here. Okay,
Yeah.
were you in your
Running
car
out.
here or you still waiting for
I'm
it?
still waiting.
Okay. How long did it take them to get your car? I'm talking it's not either side of the crowd and I'm trying to secure the egress and egress out of it.
They pulled over Keefe first, then they pulled over mine.
Okay.
We, you know, came together really.
Okay, so you're inside here, and when you leave, did you go out this way or did you?
I went out this way.
Okay,
And the man was
exactly.
standing right here, this way he was standing, waving people out.
Okay,
He was making sure they go right, so,
okay.
you know, cause that is an illegal turn if you turn it up. You know.
I'm gonna have to go there. Okay, you said this individual was a police officer?
Yeah, he was tall, about 6'4", blonde hair, real tall, yeah. And he just waved the cars out. He waved about 50 cars up out of here. You know, like, yeah.
Did you see any policemen there, in the parking lot, say, as you were leaving the museum, had the shooting already gone down, or was it until you actually walked a little ways inside the parking structure?
Yeah, when I was coming down the stairs,
Okay.
boom, I was there, seeing Biggie now.
Okay.
Later, you know, they got on, and I was over here, we was talking about football, you know, Keith Johnson.
No, he's not doing education on the side, and that's right
Yeah.
here, waiting for your car?
Yeah,
Okay.
and, boom, the crowd came around. I was like,
How long were you standing there? When you exited that museum, how long, time span? From the time you,
about 10 minutes.
10 minutes when
About
you
10.
saw people rushing in?
Yeah, it was about 10 minutes.
Okay. Did you see any policemen, anywhere around, any LAPD?
Uniformed officers.
Any uniformed officers when you came out?
Trying to set up time, so we don't.
That's us. All I've seen was, that's what I've seen over right here, the tall guy. And, it was more, they was pulling up, it was coming real red, you know, coming in, coming a whole lot of cops was coming. Yeah.
Okay, people were rushing, okay, 10 minutes between the time you exited and the time that people were running into the parking structure. Then how long from that time did it take you to finally get into your car and start pulling out?
I'll say about 6 to 7 minutes,
6 to 10 minutes?
about 6 to 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay. And then how long did it take for you to exit the structure? Is that?
It was like bumper, you know, bumper.
Okay, so you're finally in your car.
Yeah, then we leave.
I mean, did you have to wait for a long period of time because of the?
No, not really,
He was pushing through pretty
he was
fast.
waving them through, yeah.
So after the crowd started moving in, the policemen were there within what, 6?
About 6 minutes, yeah. He was running in, he got killed. I'm like, Lord have mercy, you know. I had been in one of them before, and over there in Inglewood, and they made everybody spend the night at that hotel, interviewed everybody that was there. You
Which
know.
hotel?
This is at by the farm.
What, that shooting you're talking about?
It was a shooting in it. You know, that was kind of strange for him to be waving people out, so, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Okay.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, okay, and feel free, again, if you need to talk to him, because I'll tell you, when I first got word that you were interested in talking to him, my advice naturally was, don't talk to the police. I told him, I won't hide it, I said don't. But he insisted that he wants to
Get this over
and
with.
talk to you. So he's doing this on his own.
No, I
He said
understand.
he wants to talk to you.
That's why
Yeah.
we had no
Yeah.
problem with you come down with him,
Yeah.
it was resolved.
Yeah, he insisted.
I will check on that, here's everything, I don't know.
Yeah,
When you talk to down.
Yeah,
Sean
Holmes.
Holmes. Talk to Sean Holmes. What did you talk about?
He said the FBI is all over me, man. I don't want you guys catching my heat. Stay away from me.
Who said that?
Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you, this little C, did you talk to him?
For a few minutes.
I mean,
That's the person that slid the invitations. Sent me the invitation.
Oh, okay, you got the invitation from Little C?
Yeah, him and a manager.
A manager?
Him and a manager.
Okay.
He got
So he
a lot of braids. You see him?
Oh, yeah.
And where that stocking cap?
Right.
Yeah.
Said, Combs said FBI is all over me?
Yes.
That was,
So with Little C was just high and.
Yeah. He gave me the invitation. Him and the
This is
manager.
before you went in?
Before I went in. Then I
Okay.
went up there, they was drinking, gave me a bottle, I started
Did
drinking.
you talk to Little C inside?
Huh?
Did you talk to Little C
Yeah, I talked to
inside?
him in a little.
What did you guys talk about? I mean, you met before, right?
He just said, how you doing? Yeah, you know, what you been doing?
How long had you known Sean and Little C before this event?
Maybe about a year.
A year? Where'd you
Couple
meet
of
him?
years. He had gave an after party at, the Soul Train Awards.
In what year?
That was,
96?
one night the guy get killed at the El Rey, what year was that? They got beat up.
Clara, all right.
Oh,
Yeah, what year was
That
that?
was 94?
That was the year I met him. Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You make the phone call?
No, yeah, okay, I'll make a phone call on my way out.
Okay.
I appreciate it, Keith, I appreciate, because I'd like to talk to you again, and we'll call your attorney, and you have no problem?
I ain't got no problem, man.
Okay, I just go to from 7 and run 11. Sure.
Good, thanks, appreciate it.
Okay, hello? Okay, hi.
What's over too?
You want another talk? Oh, okay.
Fine, how are you? Did you talk to me?
Okay.
She talked to me, you know, I
no time whatsoever. Friday, today, get back as far as that.
Which one?
But, I told you, advantage medicine is the only difference you have. Otherwise, you just forget every one of them. Otherwise, you just in the world. But I'll talk to you later. Yes, I'm at the police department. Yeah, I'll tell you.
All right, who's your next witness?
Thomas Kern.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
First name is Thomas, Thomas. Last name is Kern, Kern.
Thank you, sir. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Giacomo, you may proceed.
Thank you. Sir, how are you currently employed?
I work for Customs and Border Protection at the Chicago Laboratory as a leading fingerprint examiner.
I'm going to take you back 30 years ago.
Okay.
30 years ago, what were you doing for a living?
I had just started here as a crime scene analyst. I was in my first year.
What does a crime scene analyst for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department do?
Basically, it's a response to crime scenes to recover evidence that was potentially left behind during the incident. Things like burglaries, we would go look for fingerprint evidence, maybe sometimes broken glass, those sort of things, and we would collect that from the scene and bring it back to the lab for potential use later.
Did you have a field training officer on September 7th or September 13th, I guess it is, of 1996?
I did.
And who was that?
David Lemaster, that's Lemaster.
Do crime scene analysts respond to the coroner's office for autopsies to document the body and collect any evidence that the doctor pulls out during the course of an autopsy?
Yes.
And were you present at the autopsy with Dave Lemaster for the autopsy of Tupac Shakur?
I was.
May I approach, Judge?
You may.
I'm going to start with state proposed exhibits 44 to looks like 56 there. Just want you to flip through those.
exhibits. 44 through 54, are those all depictions of Mr. Shakur, well, his body bag, as well as Mr. Shakur during the course of the autopsy, documenting both tattoos and injuries to Mr. Shakur?
Yes, sir.
And then 55 and 56, it is two sides, I'll say, of what looks like a bullet and a fragment that was removed from his body at time of autopsy. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Proposed Exhibit number 128. From looking at that, does that appear to be an impound done by Dave LeMaster from the autopsy of Mr. Shakur in September of 1996?
It is.
And flip it over here. Why don't you explain to ladies and gentlemen of the jury how evidence is collected?
So this is a typical evidence collection bag, and on the front there's information that you would complete and fill out that would be relevant to the investigation you're working on. So I know that this is David's paperwork. We are assigned a personnel number when we start the job, and David's personnel number was 4243 as his first initial, last initial, and that's about here in the center of this information. When we collect the evidence, we're supposed to put a seal on the reverse, and the seal has to remain intact throughout the investigation. That also has David's initial and personnel number and the date that was collected.
And so it appears that nobody's opened this since David impounded it 30 years ago.
That's correct.
Judge, I offer 44 through 56 and 128.
Any objection? They will be admitted.
Thank you. I pass the witness.
Okay. Cross-examination, Mr. Stamps.
Your Honor, I have no cross.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you so much. Have a good day. You are excused, Mr. Quinn. State, who's your next witness?
Dr. Lisa Gavin.
Okay.
Lisa Gavin.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Good morning. I'm Dr. Lisa Gavin, Lisagavin.
Thank you, Dr. Gavin. Mr. DiGiacomo, you may proceed.
Doctor, how are you employed?
I am a forensic pathologist, medical examiner here in Clark County.
What does that mean you do for a living?
We determine the cause of death and the manner of death and sudden unexpected deaths.
And in order to hold the position that you do with the coroner's office, do you have certain education, training, and background?
Yes.
And explain that to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
I went to medical school at the University of Connecticut School of Medicine. I did a pathology residency at Hartford Hospital in Connecticut. I did a surgical pathology fellowship at Hartford Hospital in Connecticut. I did a forensic pathology fellowship in the Office of the Medical Investigator in New Mexico, and then I came here to Clark County. I have a medical license to practice here in the state of Nevada, and I'm board certified in anatomic pathology and forensic pathology.
How long overall have you been a forensic pathologist?
This September it'll be about 17 years practicing here.
So I'm going to guess that 30 years ago you were not at the autopsy of Tupac Shakur.
No, I was in medical school.
Have you in the past had to come in and testify to your opinions as to cause and manner of death in cases where you weren't the actual examiner at the table?
Yes.
Explain why that would happen.
We have people that have retired. We have doctors that have died. We have doctors that have gone to other locations in the country.
So when you are asked to review, what is it that you get to review in order to form your opinions and conclusions?
Most often it would be the investigation report from our office. It would be the autopsy report from the forensic pathologist that did the case. It could be photographs associated with the case, could be medical records associated with the case, could be any consultations or the like associated with the case.
In this particular case, do you know who the examiner was?
Yes,
Who was it?
it was Dr. Jordan.
And Dr. Jordan is no longer with us, correct?
Correct, Dr. Jordan had passed away.
In addition to what the medical examiner's office had, did you also get a copy of the photographs taken by crime scene analysts during the course of the autopsy?
Yes.
And did you utilize those as well to render your opinions?
Yes.
I'm going to start with what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit number 44. Now, as long as you don't click that mouse, there should be a nice little arrow that comes up and you can point to it. What are we looking at in State's Exhibit 44?
In the background is a green body bag, and the way that we sealed the body bag to preserve the body as evidence is we put this little blue tag through the eyelets of the zippers as they come together to demonstrate that the body was received, placed into that sealed body bag, and then received in the office with that seal intact at that time. Similarly, attached onto that area what will become the toe tag, the identifying marker for that particular body, that particular individual.
And if I zoom in on that, we're able to see that the name was Lassane Crooks, aka Tupac Shakur, date of death 9/13/96 at approximately 1600 or 4 p.m.
That's correct.
$45. What are we looking at, Doctor?
This is just opening up of the body bag, and then one of the first photos that was taken at the time that the body bag was opened, demonstrating the decedent and the condition that he was received in and the body bag.
And from reviewing the medical records that were part of the coroner's office file, did it appear that Mr. Shakur had survived his wounds for some period of time?
Yes.
And a lot of what we see on these photographs are evidence of medical intervention?
That's correct.
046. This is a facial shot. I know there's a ruler in the way, but this is a facial shot of Mr. Shakur.
Oh, that's correct.
And then we're not going to display all of his tattoos, but there were photographs taken. This is 47 to identify his various tattoos.
Correct.
So you can see on his right stomach there that says thug. And then if we go to 48, on the other side, it says life. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now I want to get to his injuries. And I'm going to start with, I'll start with 49. What are we looking at here?
This is the right side of the body up by the chest area. You can see the right axilla or armpit in that region. And then you could see some of the sutures of what they call a thoracotomy incision, where they've cut into the side of the chest. And then just below that, this is an entrance gunshot wound.
And then just below that thoracotomy chest, there appears to be a stitched up area. I can move my mouse too, right there. What is that?
That's a sutured chest tube site.
So he had a tube there to help drain some of what was going on in his body.
Correct. And in the previous one that had all the medical intervention, you could see from the left side there was a similar chest tube on that left side.
From your review, were you able to determine sort of the path of this particular bullet?
Yes.
And what was that?
It entered here in the right lateral aspect of the chest, just below the axilla, the armpit, and then went across the right chest space, went across the right lung, and then ended up coming to rest in what we call the sternal notch. The sternal notch is a location just between where your collarbones kind of meet up towards the center of your chest. So just beneath that, the projectile was recovered.
The nature of that type of wound, what did it physically do to him, his ability to breathe and those types of things?
The injury to the lung would have collapsed the lung and also caused the lung to bleed. And so it was documented within the medical records that he had about 2 liters of blood in his chest cavity when they put in the chest tube to try to save him. And similarly, they ended up removing that lung to try to save him and kind of clamp off the bleeding. And then it already had multiple episodes of not becoming responsive, so he wasn't able to breathe. He was bleeding out in that area from that injury.
Additionally, I guess I should have asked this when I was back on some of the prior pictures. We're going to see a lot of pictures, or we have seen some pictures of Mr. Shakur while he's alive. We're going to see some video of him alive. He certainly looks a lot skinnier in those pictures than he does in these pictures. Is there a reason why he's so bloated in these photographs?
After they've been on the life support system, you end up not being able to circulate the fluid in the body that they're trying to give you, and so it kind of seeps into the tissues, and it makes your tissues look kind of bloated and literally bloated.
I'm going to move on to his next wound, State's Exhibit number 51. What are we looking at here?
This is the right lateral aspect of his body, so his right flank and his lateral aspect of his right thigh. And then his back side of his right hand is also within this picture.
The ruler, though, is identifying what?
The ruler is around the right lateral aspect of his thigh, so the right thigh on the lateral side.
And what is that?
And that's an entrance gunshot wound.
And can you tell me the path that bullet took?
Yes.
And go ahead.
That bullet entered in the lateral aspect of the right thigh and then went upwards into the abdomen and damaged his intestines. They ended up operating there and removed a portion of his intestines, and then during that surgery they recovered another projectile.
State's Exhibit number 52, and you can see it in 51, but now the ruler is on, oops, try that again. Now the ruler is on that lower mark. Describe that for us.
This is like the lateral aspect of his body, or his right flank. And this wound does not penetrate into the body, but it kind of causes this deeper abrasion in this area. So this could be from like a spent projectile that might have hit something else and then hit his body, so it lost its momentum to be able to penetrate into his body further. So it kind of hit this area and created this wound on the side of his body.
Were there evidence within the medical records that Mr. Shakur had received bullet wounds sometime prior to the injuries that caused his death?
He had some scars in other areas of his body that were suggestive of that.
State's Exhibit number 53. What are we looking at?
This is the back of his right hand, and on the ring finger he has an entrance gunshot wound. This path goes through the hand and goes through that finger and then fractures that bone right by the ring finger area.
And then 54-054. What are we looking at?
This is the exit aspect of that wound that we saw the entrance to on the back of the hand, and it kind of exits out the underside and partly in the webbing between those fingers.
Now, you mentioned that during the surgery, UMC would have recovered one bullet, and at autopsy, another bullet was recovered.
That's correct.
So, as it relates to the autopsy, showing you State's Exhibit number 55. What are we looking at here?
This is the projectile that was recovered during the autopsy. This was the one underneath the sternal notch to which I referred earlier.
And just so the jury understands these when they get to the back room, that's the same bullet, it's just taken from the opposite side.
Yes, we take multiple angles of those projectiles, photos of multiple angles.
Your Honor, just for the record, what exhibit number is this one?
Mr. Gustavo?
56.
Okay.
Doctor, in addition to not only the photographs, were there other records identifying Mr. Shakur within the coroner's office records?
We have both some medical records and some photographs, as well as the autopsy report, the investigation report, and the toxicology report as well.
Did you also have an affidavit from Mr. Shakur's mother indicating that's her son and he's dead?
Yes.
And were there also post-mortem fingerprints taken to confirm that information?
Yes.
After reviewing all of those records, do you have an opinion as to the cause of death of Mr. Shakur?
Yes.
And what is that?
He died of gunshot wounds of chest and abdomen.
And do you have an opinion as to the manner of death?
Yes.
And what is that?
Homicide.
When a medical examiner uses the term homicide, what does that mean?
The simplest form is death at the hands of another.
Thank you. I pass the witness.
Cross-examination, Mr. Sant.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Dr. Gavin, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Just a couple questions. Your testimony here today revolves really around your review of the record that was laid out 30 years ago.
Yes, that's correct.
And so, fair to say, of course, that keeping records would be very important in your line of work.
Yes.
In the event that in the future, something that you do while you're on vacation somewhere in the Bahamas could be testified to by another doctor.
That's correct.
Now, with regards to the record you saw here, and is it Dr.
Jordan.
Was there anything missing in your review of those records in terms of record keeping or anything like that?
No, but we only took a few photos at the time of autopsy. At that time, they used Polaroids or they used film and cameras. And so we had few photos of the body itself. And so consequently, the crime scene analyst photos were helpful for being able to come to determination in addition to the reports.
Right. So the way we're able to explain it to the jury today is that you reviewed the record as well as any photographs that were taken at the time of the autopsy.
That's correct.
Okay. And once again, going back again to my original question, though, is that was there anything at all in review of Dr. Jordan's records or record keeping that would have indicated to you something that should have been done differently with regard to Dr. Jordan's work?
No, nothing that I could see in my review.
Okay, and fair enough to say, though, that you're not really there to critique his work as much as it is to relay what you read in the record to a jury like the people that we have here today.
That's fair.
And once again, a critical review of someone's record is a little bit different compared to just reading what was done and then relaying that to a jury.
Yes.
Okay. What is the difference?
I think the scrutiny that you can utilize in those kind of details may be something that becomes relevant for a particular case.
Right. So, for instance, if there was some issue, some dispute over whether or not he was given adequate medical treatment, that would be something for another day, for another topic, and another type of review, right?
That would be for somebody that actually does treatment of bodies. I'm a forensic pathologist, so I'm a medical examiner, so I review people after they've died. So that would be treatment related to whomever does that type of treatment.
Now, would you have been able to do this type of review if Dr. Jordan had not kept an adequate record of his efforts?
It depends on what you have available for review.
Say, for instance, there's no record at all. He doesn't do a record, he does some work, but don't have anything other than maybe the pictures in this case. Would that be enough of a review for you?
Photographs can be very helpful in terms of determining what happened to the body, and then in terms of where the locations of injuries are, based on my knowledge of anatomy in the body, I can definitely generate opinions based on that.
Sure, but with regards to, say, his work in general, outside of the fact that you could point out location of where there's entry and exit wounds, for instance, from a bullet, outside of that, would you be able to tell this jury exactly what Dr. Jordan had done with regards to his autopsy?
What he did for his exact procedures, no.
Okay. And in the event that you don't even have that, say, for instance, you're coming in here today, and the question is, well, did Tupac Shakur die of bullet wounds? Would that be something that you could just tell a jury like this without even looking at a record or photographs?
We would need some kind of record in order for me to be able to generate an opinion, or some kind of photographs for me to be able to generate an opinion.
And fair to say then, once again, that in your line of work, record keeping, record writing is critical to maintain the integrity of what you do as a coroner.
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any redirect, Mr. DiGiacomo?
Ma'am, Mr. Sam suggested, and I just want to make it clear, you're not regurgitating Dr. Jordan's opinions. You've formulated your own opinions as the cause and manner of death.
That is correct.
Thank you. That's good.
One final question based on Mr. Giacomo's. And fair to say, though, in order for you to do that, you have to rely on Dr. Jordan's documentation of what he did.
I relied on his documentation as well as the other documentation that I talked about, which was medical records as well as photographs.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? We have one more that we're waiting for. Can I have the parties approach? All right, Dr. Gavin, we have a few questions from our jurors. Were there any wounds to the head that you or Dr. Jordan observed or noted?
No, there were not.
And then, were all the bullets found of the same caliber?
I don't know what the caliber of the other bullet was, the one recovered at surgery.
Okay, state any follow-up based on those questions.
Do you even know what the caliber of the bullet was that was covered in autopsy?
No, I don't know this caliber.
Is that something that is not in your realm of determination?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Sam?
Doctor, I'm assuming you're probably going to say I don't know, but are you aware that if any Metropolitan Police officer or expert came forward to take a look at those fragments that we're looking at now, or any other fragments that were recovered from the body?
No, I don't know.
You don't know that?
I don't know whether or not somebody did that.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Okay, thank you for being with us, Dr. Gavin. You are excused.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next witness.
Judge, before we call the next witness, I have in my hand State's Proposed Exhibit number 59, which is a certified copy of Marion Suge Knight's medical records from UMC that night.
Any objection to the admission of those records, Mr. Sam?
No, Your Honor.
All right, those will be admitted.
I apologize, I don't know his name, but he is the custodian of records for MGM Surveillance.
Okay.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Michael Ingram, Michael Ingram.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Mr. Giacomo, whenever you're ready.
Sir, how are you employed?
I work as an investigator for MGM Resorts.
What area at MGM Resorts do you have a certain job responsibility?
I have responsibility over surveillance and security surveillance and investigations.
Were you requested to come here to authenticate some video that was collected well back in 1996 from the MGM?
Yes, I was.
And have you had a chance to see any of that surveillance?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Did MGM keep a copy as well?
Yes, they have.
Okay, so you reviewed that.
Yes.
Judge, I have in my hand stage proposed exhibit number 115, which is that video I'd offer.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, that'll be admitted.
So I have 3 different camera views, three different files, I'll call it, that we're going to talk about. But back in 1996, can you describe the type of surveillance system we're looking at? Like, how is it, what medium was it originally recorded on?
At that time, it was recorded on VHS.
And did MGM reuse tapes every so often?
Yes.
And so when you reuse tape, did you lose quality each time you kind of reused it over and over again?
Yes, the quality deteriorated.
So unlike today that's digital, some of these views that we're going to watch, it's going to be pretty hard to facially identify anybody. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I want to start with, I just mark next to the order.
I need to switch it over.
I know, I just remember if it's at the top or the bottom. There's 2 blues. Oh, this one? Yes, let's switch it over. There you go.
It doesn't work that way.
All right. I'm going to show you the stage proposed exhibit number 144. You recognize what that is?
Yes, that's the MGM Grand.
Is that currently the way the MGM Grand looks?
The general layout of the casino or the hotel, yes, it's the names have changed and stuff, but
Okay.
the property is the same.
So we don't know if this is from 1996 or if it's from 2002, 2010, when in the last 30 years, but generally the layout's been the same.
Correct.
Put this up, ladies and gentlemen, the jury.
Your Honor, if I could,
Oh, I'll move to bit 144.
before we move to admit, can I just ask a couple more questions of this witness with regards to this particular?
You'd like to voir dire on this issue?
Yes.
You may.
Sir, with regards to the photograph that's been marked as proposed State Exhibit 144, can you tell me if you can read the locations that are on that particular map?
I can read most of them. There's one that's a little fuzzy to me.
Sure. In terms of your review of the surveillance video from the MGM, fair to say that what we're about to see would indicate where the camera location was, including the name of the area that would correlate with what you have out there on the map?
As a general rule, yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have no further questions.
Any objection then to
No
the
objection.
admission of it?
No.
It'll be admitted. State, you may proceed.
There's actually 2 areas of this I want to talk to you about before we show the video.
Maybe more than that. Generally speaking, events like the Tyson-Selden fight, where would that have occurred at?
The MGM Grand Garden, which is located at the top of the screen.
Up here, okay. We have an elevator view
that we're going to see. Where is that located on this?
There's, in the middle of the screen, there's 3 small boxes. Those,
Right here?
yes, those are the elevator core for the MGM grant.
And then if there's a camera that's going to say food court, that's kind of walking, that's looking down a long hallway. Which hallway are we looking at?
The white box, yeah, you're going to be following that basically to the Grand Garden Arena.
So when you come out of this box, you can either come down here or across the casino, essentially.
Correct.
So now I'm going to start with, if we can go back to me. I'll pause it here for just a second. This says food court promenade. So I'm just going to hold it up for the jury. Do you know anywhere where we are along this white corridor? Or could it be anywhere on that white corridor?
Specifically, I couldn't tell you exactly where along that corridor you are, but you're along that corridor.
Okay. And I'm going to stop it. Oh, maybe a little farther. This person right here, we're going to see in some of our other videos, wearing a Dan Marino Miami Dolphins jersey. You probably know that, but for ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that's the person that we're trying to follow. Is that accurate? Or do you know?
I do not know.
Okay. Now we have another camera view of this long hallway. From this, can you tell generally where in that hallway it is, or once again, we're just somewhere on that white hallway?
Somewhere along that white hallway.
And, well, he just flashed.
That.
So let me stop it here. On these VHS tapes, cameras would flash between different hallways.
That technology was in effect during that time frame.
Called multiplex back in those days.
Correct.
So sometimes we jump from camera view to camera view, trying to capture what we're trying to capture.
Correct.
We can see the 13 on this jersey right here, with the gentleman walking behind him. Now I'm going to take you to 115B. I don't know why it did that. All right, we're going to use a different program so we don't watch it sideways. And I'll turn my volume off because there's no volume. Now this is that elevator core that we saw. Please switch over to me for just a second.
Over to you? You mean the dot cam?
Yeah. So as opposed to those other views that were somewhere in here, now we're down in the middle of these four, and there's a tree in the middle of these four.
Correct.
Is that tree still there?
No.
And unlike the other camera, this one is a movable camera that goes back and forth.
Correct.
Go back to you.
Yeah. So this one starts at 2043 or so, and I'm going to jump forward to about 2047. This is just people walking through that elevator area, correct?
Correct.
Close enough. We'll start at 2046-33. Stop it just here for a second to orient everybody. So the camera, is it being operated manually by a cameraman so he can stop it on something that he's looking at?
He can stop it at a location, but that movement that you saw was just the camera in rotation, just scanning the area.
But if it now stops and focuses on someone, there's someone in the control room that is able to stop and go, hey, something's going on. And,
Yes.
okay. The gentlemen in white shirts, are they security guards, and the gentlemen in tan shirts, Metro Police?
Yes, sir.
Pause it there for a second. Once again, it appears that the victim of the beating was wearing that 13 merino shirt.
Yes, sir.
Stop this at about 2055 or so. And then our final view, this may seem somewhat obvious, but I'm going to give you this when you watch the cameras. After we're done, I'm going to ask you generally where those people that we see leaving the area of the elevator after the fight, where they go. This is 115C. So is that the main casino floor outside the elevators?
Correct.
leads out to?
The lion entrance? Right.
Is that anywhere near the ballet?
That's the. I'm sorry, I was confused. Out to the hotel registration area, and then out to the Porte Cochere.
And do you know whether or not back in '96 there was a ballet there or not?
Yeah, no, I don't know if there was an exact ballet or what it was called at the time.
Thank you, sir. Judge, I pass the witness.
Mr. Smith, cross-examination.
Thank you, Honor. Sir, you are an investigator with the MGM, correct?
MGM Resorts, the whole company.
So it would be MGM as well as the other properties that are on the ship?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're more than just yourself doing the investigations?
Correct.
Okay. May I have that document? May I approach on it?
Yeah.
I'm going to publish this again for the jury. State's Exhibit number 44. All right. A couple questions. As the investigator, or a investigator, how long have you been doing that line of work for?
14 years.
Did you have any previous law enforcement experience before you became an investigator for MGM?
No.
And then with regards to your training as an investigator for the MGM, are you trained in how to do an investigation?
Yes.
Okay. And that would be something that would be not necessarily law enforcement, but it would just be to protect the properties that MGM owns?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with regards to the training that you have, is one of the things that you do in terms of training, learning how to write proper reports?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us why that's important?
Documentation for future reference. You're time stamping an event in that moment that you are investigating it.
And fair to say that with regards to report writing, it helps you later refresh your recollection if you're ever unlucky enough to be sitting in this chair facing towards these people, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In this case, you were asked to retrieve this video that was what we've all seen right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you have to write a report for that?
No.
Now, you had shared with us earlier that you had reviewed the videos. Anything about the review of the videos that would have required you to put it into a report?
No.
Okay. And you were going to, I must have cut you off. You were going to say something. Did you want to finish?
I did not, like you said that I provided this video.
Yes.
I did not provide this video.
Okay, so, and once again, we want to make sure that we're accurate, right? So what is your role in this whole thing and what you did here?
The video that we all reviewed, to be able to say that it's MGM Grand's video, that's MGM Grand's location, and whatever you guys want to talk about inside of the video.
Right. So in terms of you verifying it, was it just you looking at the video and saying, yes, that's the casino floor of the MGM?
Yes.
In terms of the date and time, for instance, you're just relying on what's date stamped and timed on the actual video that you watched, right?
Yes.
I mean, you don't have any other way of verifying any of the time and date in this case outside of what's time stamped on the video, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that's not a trick question. I just want to make sure it's like, yeah, you're good. But in terms of the case itself, was there an internal number that was assigned by the MGM property specifically as to this event in September of 2000 or 1996?
I don't know that answer.
So when you were asked to review the videos, do you know if there were any reports that were written by MGM security or MGM investigators like yourself on September 7th, 1996 with regard to this event?
I don't know that answer.
Now, in addition to that, you were asked to look through the video. Were you ever asked to locate anyone based upon the video that you saw in this case?
No.
All right. And the way the surveillance worked back then, right? I'm assuming you weren't. That was 14 years ago, so that would have been. You were there in 2012.
Technically, I got hired in 2010.
2010. All right. So this is another, take a step back, another 14 years prior to you working there. We heard testimony that the recording system was all VHS based.
Yes.
If you could describe for the jury, right? So you have a control room, I'm assuming, with all these monitors that are on there.
Yes, sir.
And there's multiple people that are probably looking at different quadrants or areas of the casino.
They're looking at different monitors, yes, sir.
Okay, and some of them are concerned with, like, say, cheating on the tables and that kind of thing, right?
That is a different team altogether.
I see.
You have your security team and you have your gaming surveillance team.
I see. So as a security team, you're just tasked with safety on the premises.
Correct.
Okay. And so in this case, when those cameras are going around, they're going around automatically until such time as somebody in the control room looks and says, oh, there's something going on right here, and then manually focuses the camera over there.
Some of the cameras, yes.
Okay. And even if the person in the room is not seeing it, sometimes you'll get a call from security saying, hey, we've got a situation over by the elevator banks, and then that would draw someone's attention to that monitor and move the camera over to that area.
Yes, sir.
Now, is the person that's operating the camera at that point in direct contact with the security team that is down below, like in this case, in the elevator area?
Yes, sir.
So they would be communicating back and forth about whatever it is that would be going on that would be helpful for everybody to know.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in this particular case, you have obviously a lot of people on the property.
Yes, sir.
Maybe you're too young for this, but I mean, this was fight night, right? Mike Tyson against Bruce Seldon.
Yes, sir.
Is that typical? Like, is that a typical amount of people on the MGM property?
In my experience, yes, that's a typical of fight night that you would have.
Right. So nowadays it's UFC or some type of championship thing with somebody, I don't know. But once again, championship level sort of thing, right?
Yes, sir.
Not an everyday.
Not an everyday thing.
All right. And obviously there's a ton of people that are there. We see at some point the group that attacked the individual run.
Yes,
and
sir.
they run out of the area. And I want to make sure the jury understands. So going back here again to State's Exhibit number 144, the area where the attack happens is right here. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And this is right next to it. It just says elevator core, right?
Yes, sir.
Now we talked a little bit about where they exited, and you had mentioned somewhere, but I just want to make sure I'm clear as to where that would have been. Can you tell the jury where they exited?
From what I observed, it.
Sir, just to let you know, you could actually take that mouse that's right there and just move it around.
Yeah, when he's on the dock cam.
They
All right,
changed
Donna
it.
pointed out.
Usually they can, but
All right. Just go ahead and just describe it, and I'll just point it out.
He appears to have traveled initially after the altercation. He appears to travel north up into the casino area, around that area, and then from the description, it looks like he comes back south and then turns to the
Approach that screen and point.
Oh, thank you, Madam Clerk. Yes, please. Could you just...
Just talk louder while you're over there.
you can get up and just point it out on that big screen if you want.
Sorry about that. I should have done that.
The altercation occurs in the elevator core. It appears that he travels up through this location on the casino floor, and then turns here, and then comes back down I'm a little confused on the exact route. There's only two routes. You either went out the port of Fisher or went out the line entrance. But I'd have to watch it one more time to be able to confirm that.
If we could ask the state to be so kind as to replay that particular video back for the witness.
She needs to put it back on me.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And once again, this would be 115C as in Charlie. Did that help?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Let's show this to the jury then. Put this back up if you want to go on.
Yes, sir.
The banner away from me for a second. Showing you again State's Exhibit 44. Can you explain to the jury the path that was taken?
Initially, it starts in the elevator core. They exit the elevator core. They enter the casino floor. They come down. They pass the cage. They pass the Emerald City, and then they're out the line entrance.
All right, and for the record, the line entrance is on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Tropicana?
Correct.
Thank you. Now, with regards to how we're able to determine this, obviously it's we're looking at this particular map here, and there's names of certain parts on here. Did that help you in terms of seeing where the camera locations were?
Yes.
As well as just looking and seeing that there was a casino cage and there was, you know, you were able to determine just based upon that where everything was?
Correct.
Okay. Now, looking at the map again as well, can you point out for us the number of cafes that's located on the property? Would reading the actual thing help you?
Yes, I think it would have. You want the number of cafes, sir?
Yeah, just tell me how many cafes are on the map.
One, two, three, 3.
All right. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm the approach.
Oh, of course. You may move freely.
Thanks, Dave. Showing you again for the jury 144. If you can just get up and point to the map in terms of where the cafes are on property in 1996 for us, please.
You have the Coyote Cafe, the studio, I'm not sure what the coffee shop, and I believe this is also a gourmet coffee stand.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, in terms of the number of people moving through the casino, obviously very excited in terms of who they think is going through the casino. Would that have been something that would have been unnoticed by anyone?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Seems like a weird question, right? But the idea behind it is that there are so many people moving through that casino. Is MGM built in such a way where you wouldn't notice that, the noise or the bustle or anything like that?
Yes.
It is
You
built that
wouldn't,
way?
no, you wouldn't notice it.
And in terms of the number of people that are going through there at that particular time, you have camera angles, right? And they're showing us where these people are going, right?
Yes.
So outside of the casino, going back down here to the bottom of 144, were there any camera angles out here in the line entrance to help us see where the individuals left and what direction they went to?
Not that I'm aware of.
And fair enough that there is actually cameras that are outside the property as well to protect the MGM property, right?
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was at this time.
Sure, and I'm not trying to pin you down, but the idea behind it would be, even now, for instance, there would be surveillance cameras to help protect the property.
Correct.
Now, directing your attention over here to, you had mentioned this before, what is this called here?
The Porta Cashier.
Okay, what is that?
It's a drop-off, pick-up, a taxi line, limo service. It's basically everything for the guests arriving to the property.
Arrive and leaving at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. And fair enough, once again, there should have been or would have been cameras as far as you would believe in the hotel registration area as well as this Porta Cashier.
Porta Cashier, yes, sir.
Thank you, Cashier. There would have been cameras there, at least now there are.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do you know what MGM's policy is with regards to events that occur on property where police officers request video surveillance to be captured?
Yes, I know the policy.
Okay, what is the policy?
The policy when police request video is they submit a what we call an admin subpoena with the date, time, and kind of information that they're requesting, and then a member of either security surveillance or gaming surveillance will put that video onto a portable drive of some sort and provide it to the police.
Right. And with regards to that video surveillance, is it the entire property?
No.
Okay. What typically is requested of the police officers and what's typically protected or is saved by MGM?
Situations dictate, but whatever they're initially requesting, if they're looking for a physical altercation, that's what they're going to get is the physical altercation. We don't provide, a 24-hour movement of the persons. It depends on what they're requesting.
Right. So in this particular regard, you have an individual dressed in a Dan Marino jersey that at some point leaves the elevator area. Recall that?
Yes.
Now, do you know if there was ever a request to follow that individual through the casino and maybe off the casino premises just because he had been involved in an altercation with some other people?
I'm not aware of any request.
You don't have no further questions. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
redirect, Mr. Duffy.
Briefly. You mentioned one, you didn't know if this was 1996 or not, correct?
Correct.
You also said you weren't sure whether or not there was a report written by security.
Correct.
Let me show you. Does that document generally look familiar to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And that indicates the accuracy of the times on the, generally speaking, on the video that we have.
Yes, sir.
And I want to read that description to yourself. And there's more, but
Yes, sir.
Based upon reading that, are you comfortable that the Coyote Cafe was present in 1996?
Yes.
And the report, does it indicate that Orlando Anderson was trying to, this person in the 13 was attempting to push past security into this cafe when he was attacked?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further.
Any recross based on that, Mr. Sandwich?
And I'm sorry, sir, I forgot your last name.
Ingram?
Ingram. Mr. Ingram, the report that you just read, did you author that report?
No.
Now, in terms of the report, fair to say the report is basically reflecting what's found on the videos that's been provided by the state.
I'm sorry, I lost track. What?
The videos that we watched earlier, is that what's in the report?
Yes.
So, in essence, the jury can see the report for them, or see the videos for themselves to determine what was happening in terms of actions and what people were doing, right?
I don't know if that's completely accurate. There's things that are in report that are written by like eyewitness that you can't see on video.
Sure. Now, the report itself, do you know who wrote it?
I do not.
Do you know if that person had the same training and experience that you have here today talking to this jury?
I do not.
And in terms of the report itself, is it a standard report that would have been drafted back in those days?
Yes, sir.
All right. And there would have been somebody who would have supervised that report, I would assume, and reviewed it?
Yes, sir.
Do you know who it is in this document?
Who the
The
supervisor?
supervisor is.
I don't know who the manager at the time was.
All right. Once again, not you. You were 12, right? Okay.
Young, yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Just briefly. Mr. Sam said that only what was seen on the video is in this report, but there's actually a description of what what the person in number 13 was doing before we could see it in video, if you read the first.
Yes, he. Yes, sir.
This is a document that appears to be authored by somebody who was present and confronting Mr. Anderson from security as he was trying to get into the Coyote Cafe when he was attacked, and then we see on video kind of the remnants of that attack, but not the beginning of it,
Your
correct?
Honor, I'm sorry, I'm just going to object to that question.
Well, he opened the door with that question by
Leading?
saying,
What's your response on leading?
oh, as bleeding? Okay, read the first 4 lines of the report. I'll rephrase my
Okay,
question.
so it's sustained, you may rephrase.
Read the beginning of the report.
On Sunday, August 7th, 1996, at approximately 8:50 p.m., this officer was in the elevator core when I noticed a BMA wearing a sports jersey force his way past the officers.
Your Honor, at this particular point, I'm going to object as this is hearsay, and there's no exception to this particular statement being brought in.
Okay, your response on that one?
2 things. One, he opened the door by claiming this report only says it's bad. 2, it's a report generated at the time by the person who witnessed it, and it is a record of the MGM from MGM in 1996, all of which would qualify for admissibility.
Your Honor, maybe approach.
Sure. All right, overruled. This the statement is not being offered for its truth. Instead, it's being offered to rebut the idea that the only thing that the report contains is viewable on the video, and the jury is to consider it for such.
If you could just, I guess, start over. Start at the beginning there and stop at the point you get to this person in the jersey getting attacked.
On Sunday, August 7th of 1996, at approximately 8:50 p.m., this officer was in the elevator core when I noticed a BMA wearing a sports jersey force his way past the officers. I can't read the first name, Muniz Roberts, at the North Key checkpoint by Coyote Cafe. The unidentified BMA was questioned by myself and Officer. Your screen went black.
Oh, sorry. I love technology.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, maybe approach again while Mr. Giacomo was working on technology.
With Mr. Claus? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. I think you were an officer whose name you couldn't quite figure out.
The unidentified BNL was questioned by myself and Officer Gamba on the side of Coyote Cafe. The BMA was very uncooperative on answering our questions. While questioning the BMA, he continually kept looking over his shoulder towards the North Key checkpoint. It was seconds thereafter when I noticed a large group of BMAs force their way through the North Key checkpoint. The large group of BMAs, approximately 20, were running right in our directions. As they got close to, close to the BMA that was being questioned, started to run south towards the elevator core. Around 5 or 6 BMAs from the group caught up with the single BMA, grabbed him, punched him, and knocked him to the.
That's probably far enough.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I have no more questions.
Okay, Mr. Sam, anything else based on that? I guess that'd be recross.
No, Your Honor, but with regards to my discussions with the state, I'm going to move for the admission of that particular page that was read into the record.
Any objection by the state?
I don't. There's a second page. You want to read it all first and then make a decision? Is it the first page or both pages?
Is it bad, the second page?
At least page 1 will be admitted. Page 2 is still up in the air. But would that be next in line for the state, or do you want it as defense exhibit, Mr. Sampson?
This will be defense exhibit B, Your Honor.
Okay, so that'll be admitted as defense exhibit B. We'll hold tight to see if you want 1 or 2 pages. How many pages?
Potentially 2, but right now,
Okay,
yeah.
let my clerk know.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So nothing further.
Nothing further there.
Any questions from the jury for Mr. Ingram? We do have at least 1. Okay, can I have the parties approach? All right, a question from one of our juries. Do you know where the person or officer who wrote the report at MGM from the security team witnessed the person in the jersey by Coyote Cafe?
Can you restate that for me one more time?
I can try, or I can read it again.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is the officer or person who wrote the report at MGM from the security team witnessing the person in the jersey by Coyote Cafe?
Oh, on the map, it's located, the entrance, the specific entrance, whether it's,
You think maybe you should stand up and do it on the big ones?
Yes,
so we can
ma'am.
understand that.
So from what I could read, the entrance into the cafe is located here. To the Coyote Cafe, so this would be where the initial stop and talk by the security personnel would have occurred at.
And do you know where the person who wrote the report was seeing that person in the jersey from?
From that specific location. So he or she, I'm not sure the exact person, but the security describes that they're at the position and someone tries to push past, in which case they approach and stop and talk at the entrance of the cafe itself.
Okay. And then as to the second part of that question, I'm not going to ask because that's not something that he would know why that decision was made. State, did you want any follow-up based on that question?
You didn't recognize the name of the author of that particular report, correct?
Correct.
And you have no idea what happened to that person in the last 30 years in their lives, whether they're alive, dead, locatable, anything like that?
No knowledge.
Thank you.
Mr. Sam?
Yes, Your Honor, just couple more quick ones. So I want to be sure I'm clear. Did the MGM during that time period have those booths set up where you couldn't go to the elevators unless you had a room key or something? Is that what we're talking about in terms of a checkpoint?
The checkpoint is, it's not a physical location as much as it's a security position where they would check room keys to get into an area.
So if the report is saying someone was trying to push through, they're trying to go past that area into the elevator area? I mean, where are they going?
That's the direction that he travels. The security report states he tries to get into the cafe, and then when he's approached by the large group of males, he runs towards that checkpoint. So he's trying to get out or through the elevator core down into or wherever he decides he's trying to go. But that's the checkpoint. That little looks like a telephone next. Correct. That's where he's trying to get.
All right. So, but the report's kind of weird, right? Because it's not saying that he's trying to go into the Coyote Cafe. He's actually trying to go through a checkpoint or an area. I think that's what you read, right?
I would have to reread it again, but I believe he tried to get into Coyote Cafe first.
Okay, so he's going, there's a ton of people, they're all leaving the fight, and for some reason, him going into the Coyote Cafe causes security to go after him?
If it's closed or if it's blocked for a private party, I'm not exactly sure, honestly, why they would do it.
I see. So, I mean, but outside of that, your idea as to why the Coyote Cafe would not be open to this particular individual in the Merino jersey would have been because it's closed for a private function or closed completely.
Correct.
Okay. No further questions, John.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Ingram, you are excused at this time.
Sorry, Judge, can I have one follow-up to that?
Oh, okay.
Or the cafe's overcrowded and they're stopping people from going in.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, now you're free to go.
Thank you, Ben.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, at this time we're going to take a 10-minute restroom break. During the recess, you are admonished not to talk or converse amongst yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected to the trial, or read, watch, or listen to any report or commentary on the trial of any person connected to this case by any medium of information, including without limitation, newspaper, television, the internet, and radio, or form or express any opinion on any subject connected with the trial until the case is submitted to you. We'll see you guys back here at 11:15. Please rise for the jury. Jury is exited the room. Anything we need to address outside the presence?
Well, I'll work with the state with regards to the last proposed defense exhibit.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
And then let my clerk know what pages you wanted in, or give it to her, actually.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to have to print that out, I guess. We'll be in recess. Okay, back on record in C versus Davis, C-377-407. Anything we need to address before bringing the jury back in?
Hang on.
Let's bring them in. Please rise.
Rise for the jury.
Do the parties stipulate to the presence of the jury?
Yes, sure.
You may all be seated. State, you may call your next witness.
Kenneth Rios.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. And sir, if you please state your full name and then spell it for the record.
Kenneth Rios, Kenneth-Rios.
Thank you, Mr. Rios. Mr. DiGiacomo, you may proceed whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Sir, how did you used to be employed?
I was employed as I retired as a Las Vegas sergeant for Las Vegas Metro Police.
And how long were you with Metro?
28 years.
And when did you start?
April 17th, 1990.
You direct your attention to September 7th of 1996 at about 9 p.m.-ish in that area. Where were you working?
I was working as uniform patrol at the MGM Hotel.
At that time, did you learn of a situation that occurred in the elevator section of the MGM?
Yes, I did.
And did you respond over to that location?
Yes, I did.
And did you have contact with an individual wearing a Dan Marino number 13 jersey?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to play a little video for you. Can we go back, Thomas? And this is 115B. And I got to play it with the other program. I don't know why. I'm going to back up just a little bit here. When you come in. Started right about here. You let us know when you see yourself.
I see myself.
All right. And which of the three officers we have on scene there are you?
The one with the dark hair. My back, well, it was dark back then. My back is towards the camera facing the gentleman that has the Merino jersey on.
Eventually, if we watch this video, you have a conversation with this individual, correct?
Yes, I did.
And at that time, did you ask him to identify himself?
Yes, I did.
How did he identify himself?
He identified himself through a California driver's license, which security had in their possession and gave to me.
Back then, this is just the fight call and he's the victim, correct?
We thought he was a victim, yes.
And so, did you talk to him about whether or not he wished to press charges or
the involved, describe that for us.
Yes, I asked him first if he needed medical assistance, and he refused. He said he was fine. I then asked him what happened, and he told me basically that a couple of guys that he didn't know jumped him. And once again, I asked him if he needed medical. He said no. I asked if he wanted to file a report, and he said no.
At that point, was he released and free to go on his way?
Yes, he was.
Later on that evening, did you learn about a shooting involving Tupac Shakur?
Yes, I did.
And then were you asked to then draft a report as to what your interaction was with Mr. Anderson?
Yes, I was.
And at that time, what name did you remember for Mr. Anderson?
It was Orlando. I remember his first name.
Is it anything unusual that when a victim gets attacked and doesn't want to press charges or write a report, for you not to have written a report that night?
No, it's not. Basically, if you don't have a victim, you don't have a crime, as we put it, which isn't necessarily true. You always have a crime. But if you don't have a victim, the chances of prosecution, you won't get any information, and so we don't take a report if the victim refuses.
It's only afterwards, the incident that occurs a couple hours later, you then go back from memory and write down what you recall from this incident.
Yes, I did.
And you were able to remember his first name as Orlando.
Yes.
Nothing further.
Cross, Mr. Sift.
Mr. Rios.
Yes, sir.
Did you review anything in your preparation for your testimony here today?
Yes, I did.
What did you review?
I reviewed my officer's report. I reviewed my memory. I reviewed also the last statement that I gave, I believe, was to the grand jury a few years ago.
Okay. And I would assume that prior to your testimony at the grand jury, you reviewed your officer's report back then even?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Prior to testifying in front of the grand jury?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Make sure we're clear here. You wrote that report. That's in the normal course of your duties as a police officer?
Yes, sir.
No exception to, in terms of you conducting your business as a police officer, that you don't ever write a report?
No, there's some instances where I may not write a report.
Sure. Can you tell us what those instances are?
Not offhand, because it's been so long. You don't write a report for everything that you do. Everything's recorded in some way through the computer or through dispatch, I'm sure. But to sit down and write a formalized report on all my actions, no.
So in terms of all your actions, are you saying, like, for instance, if you get up out of your cubicle and you go into your sergeant's office to talk about fantasy football, oh, no, that wasn't back then, talk about the game between the Bears and the, Chargers, we're not talking about that kind of documentation, right?
Right, I would never talk about the Bears, but yes.
Okay. And there we go. And in terms of the way, though, you would handle, like, for instance, if you're doing an investigation, or in this case, you're part of an incident that occurs, a report would be drafted for something like this.
Yes and no. It would just depend. It would depend, it would depend on some factors. In this case, there was no victim. He refused any kind of help. But it was worth noting because of his involvement.
Yeah, and so the state had asked you a question specifically as to when you wrote your report. You wrote it after you got off of this particular shift. Is that when you wrote your report?
I don't recall when I wrote it, but I'm sure that my officer's report would reflect that time. But I know I didn't write it immediately after.
All right. And in terms of your knowledge that Tupac Shakur had just been shot, your testimony to the jury is that you had understood at that point that potentially a person by the name of Orlando may have been something to do with that particular case?
I don't recall if that was the reason why I wrote the report, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, because I'm a little curious. Like, how do you, there's a shooting of Tupac Shakur. How do you, is it because you heard that there's a shooting up at Tupac Shakur that you go, wait a minute, there was an incident that occurred with Tupac on property? Is that how we get to this point?
Back then, I don't recall if that was the process that I went through to make the report. I don't believe so. I believe that there was some other officers that probably told me and suggested that I write a report because of his possible involvement.
Right. So news goes out throughout the valley. Tupac has been shot, and then you're advised, hey, there was something happening where Tupac, just capture whatever it is that you remember. Right.
I don't recall that happening that way, but for most intents purposes.
Right. Now, in terms of your report and you writing it, you're still, I mean, you're still on property when you hear that this incident had occurred with Tupac Shakur.
I don't recall where I was at the time.
Okay. Would you have ever called back to the MG and say, hey, capture more video of, this particular incident and the guy with the Merino jersey, the night of the shooting, to help them with whatever investigation could be out there? Did you do that?
Not that I recall, no.
Do you know of anyone else among the 3 officers that were there, or any other officers would have done something like that?
I have no idea.
Okay. Maybe they're all Bears fans, and that's the reason why they didn't do that.
It could be.
Yep. Let me ask you this, though. In terms of your this particular night, extra officers show up as overtime. They work overtime. Is that what this is?
Yes, sir.
All right. And they're doing it for a special event, right?
Yes, sir.
And in this case, this special event was the Tyson fight.
Yes, sir.
All right. In terms of the amount of people in Las Vegas, I would imagine there would have been a lot.
A lot of people?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
We see video showing, obviously, a lot of people at the MGM.
Yes, sir.
And would it just be the MGM where the fight was taking place, or would that be throughout the Strip?
No, there'd be officers on other properties.
Yeah. And once again, these officers are on there because of the anticipated flow of people coming into Las Vegas for this special event.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have no further questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Jackman?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? We have at least one. Can I have party? All right, a question from one of our jurors. After an incident like that, is it customary to not follow the people who did the assault? Is it common for everyone to stay with who you thought was the victim?
My position at that time, yes, it would be to stay with the victim because we had already radioed 2 other officers that were on scene.
Okay.
And as well as the MGM security had radioed to their officers up front. So it would have been my responsibility to stay with the victim to make sure that he wasn't in dire need of medical assistance or still wanted to file a report.
Okay. Any follow-up based on that, Mr. DiGiacomo?
No.
Mr. Sanft?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, perfect. With that, you are free to go. Mr. Rios?
Thank you.
All right. State, who is your next witness?
William Hedemeyer?
William Hedemeyer.
William.
Good morning. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, may I have a seat?
Thank you.
And sir, if you please state your full name and then spell it for the record.
It's William Heidmeyer, William William, and Heidmeyer, Heidmeyer.
Sir, whenever you're ready, state you may proceed.
Thank you. Sir, back in 1996, were you working here in Las Vegas?
Yes, I was a security officer at the Maxim Hotel and Casino.
And the Maxim these days is now the Westin on the corner of Koval and Flamingo?
Correct.
And it's on the northwest corner.
Yes, northwest corner.
Actually, sometime prior to 11:17 p.m., were you engaged in an investigation with some Metro officers?
Yes, I had 2 Metro officers with me, and we were looking for stolen vehicles. There were 5 or 6 Dodge Caravans that were stolen out of our parking garage that night.
And where were you located when something unusual did happen?
Well, I was on the ramp of the 3rd floor of the parking garage on the southeast side of the property.
And while you were there, describe what you hear.
Well, the 2 officers, another security officer and I were standing around one Dodge Caravan, and we just suddenly heard a lot of gunfire. And we ran to the barrier wall that was overlooking Koval Boulevard, not Koval, Flamingo Boulevard, and that's when I witnessed what I saw.
So you hear a bunch of shots. Do you have any idea how many you heard?
It sounded like a lot.
1 volley, 2 volleys?
3 volleys.
3 volleys.
Yes.
You heard. And when you say a lot, I mean, to some people, can you put any sort of number on it?
I had 3 to 4, maybe even 5 each volley. It was a series of pops.
Somewhere between 9 and 15 shots in a series.
Something like that.
You said after the shots fired, you guys ran to the retaining wall.
Yes.
I assume you ducked for cover at first.
No, because I was armed, so I was leaning over the retaining wall to see what I could see.
And when you look over the wall, what do you see?
I see a line of vehicles in the left straight lane on Flamingo heading east, and there's several vehicles. There was a white Dodge Stratus at the front, a black BMW behind it, another dark car, and I believe another car, and then there was a white Chevy Suburban behind that, and several more cars.
Do you see anybody outside of those vehicles?
Yeah, there were a number of people standing outside of the vehicles in the traffic lanes.
And do you see any of them armed?
One gentleman was armed, one black male adult, very young, well-dressed. He was wearing a very bright white 3/4 sleeve shirt, black pants, and a black dress vest.
And at the time that you see him, is he firing his weapon?
No, he's not, but he does have the weapon in his hand. It was an automatic weapon, automatic pistol.
Semi-automatic pistol?
Yes.
And is he holding it down? Is he pointing it in a direction?
He wasn't pointing it in any direction. It was kind of just off to his side.
What do you see this caravan of cars do?
Well, I looked back because the Metro officers jumped in their cars to pursue, and then when I turned around, everyone was back in their cars again, and they made a U-turn heading west on Flamingo towards Las Vegas Boulevard.
All of the cars in the caravan?
Yes.
And so you see them make a U-turn at Koval and head back towards Las Vegas Boulevard.
Correct.
And those vehicles, you saw the 2 Metro officers you were with jump in their vehicle to give chase to that caravan.
Correct.
At the time that you're out there and you see somebody with a gun, you've just heard shots fired, is it the conclusion you originally drew that that person was your suspect?
Yes, yeah, that's what I deduced at the time.
And based upon the officers following that caravan, that's a reasonable assumption that they deduced that as well.
Right. They asked me what direction they were going. They rolled down their windows and were asking me what direction everybody went, and so I pointed to make a right and head towards Las Vegas Boulevard.
And those officers then went after the caravan.
Correct.
Objection as to speculation.
What's your response?
Well, he watched them do it.
He didn't.
Did he testify that? Did you watch
Lay
the
some more
officers?
foundation.
Did you watch the officers go after that caravan?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I pass the witness.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Stamp?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Heidmeyer, I'm going to show you it's been marked and admitted as State's Exhibit number
1?
1? No. Yes.
One, you want 2?
I need both. Thank you.
Closer to 90, more modern. You were right.
All right. I'll show you State's Exhibit number 1 here. You recognize this photograph?
Yes.
Okay. Just to get to the point, this is Las Vegas.
Yes.
All right, and I'm just more concerned right now about the actual streets themselves. Can you just show us? Actually, you know what? If you could step down out of the witness chair and just go to that screen, I'm going to have you point out for the jury where everything's at. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Can you point and show us where the Maxim Hotel is?
The Maxim Hotel, this is Cobol and that's Flamingo, would be right about here.
Let me help you out.
Yeah, right about here.
Okay, and just for the record, it looks like you're pointing in this area right here.
Well, this would be the hotel and this would be where the parking garage was. And there was parking in front of the parking garage as well.
All right, and just for the record, I'm pointing to the north part of, this would be Flamingo that I'm pointing at, is that correct?
Correct.
And that's on the north side of Flamingo, in between, what's the main streets that are in between where the property sits?
It sits on Cobol and Flamingo. The entrance to the parking garage was over here.
All right, and so that area is where the Maxim Hotel was located?
Right, but adjacent to the parking garage.
Right, and the parking garage, once again, for my edification, is where exactly, if you could just point that out for us?
Right here.
All right, so that would be on the north side of the property?
Yes.
So would that be behind where the hotel is?
No, it's beside the hotel.
Beside the hotel, okay. And that's where you were located with the 2 police officers?
Correct.
Now, you were investigating at that particular time stolen vehicles out of that garage. Did you write a report on your own with regards to what you were doing that night with the stolen vehicles? And
Actually, no, I turned that report over to my other co-officers at the security because I was tied up with this incident.
Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit better for you here, sir, if I could. Going back again. That's hopefully more helpful. All right, so when you said that you looked over and you saw, can you explain for us again sort of where the vehicles were that you saw?
Well, the vehicles were on Flamingo heading east, and they were in, you have a left turn lane, 2 forward lanes, and a right turn lane, and the vehicles were in the farthest left center lane.
Farthest left center lane?
Correct.
Meaning that they were intending on going forward?
Correct.
They're not making that left?
No, but they ended up making a U-turn.
Sure, and once again, for our edification, this is 30 years ago, right? So you've got 3 lanes going directly east, and is that a yes?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And then you have, is it 2 lanes that are actually turn lanes to turn onto Como, or is it just
Actually, I believe it was 2 lanes, so it would be from the facing east, it would have been the 3rd lane that they were in. There's 2 turn lanes, 2 straight lanes, and then a right turn lane.
All right. And then with regards to the vehicles themselves, your testimony was that there was a white van of some sort, or maybe vehicle in front of the black BMW.
Yeah, it was a white Dodge Stratus.
I see. Is that a van? No, that's a car.
It's a 2-door sedan.
Okay. And then behind it is the BMW.
Yes.
And then behind it are multiple cars leading back.
Yes.
And your testimony was that you had identified a Lexus. Is it a Lexus behind it?
I think it was a Lexus, I believe so.
And then another vehicle, and then a white Chevy, and then it just kept going all the way down.
Correct.
So even though we're identifying these vehicles, you don't know how many vehicles were in the procession or the.
It was several. I didn't count them at the time, but it was a good 10 vehicles.
Okay. And all those vehicles are now making a U-turn and heading back towards Las Vegas Boulevard.
Correct.
You don't see the actual shots being, someone actually pointing a gun at something and shooting something.
No, I did not.
You just heard it.
Yes.
The individual that you had identified as the person with a gun.
Yes.
Did you see that individual shoot his weapon?
No.
All right, but you saw him dressed up in a relatively nice-looking sort of presentation, black pants.
Yes, he was well dressed.
Okay, vest and a white shirt. Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, you can back up there. Yeah.
Sit down.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries. State, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Heidemeyer. You are free to go.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. State, you have one more, right? Before
Yes,
lunch?
Judge.
Okay, who's that going to be?
Dino Kelly.
Solemnly swear or affirm testimony about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You may have a seat. And if you please state your full name and then spell it for the record.
It's Dean O'Kelly, and it's DEAN O''K-E-L-L-E-Y.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. You may proceed, Mr. DeJarmo.
Sir, how are you currently employed?
I'm a deputy marshal in district court with Judge Erica Mendoza.
Prior to become a deputy marshal, well, I guess you've had multiple hats. At some point, were you a Metro police officer?
Yes, I was for 20 plus years.
And approximately what year did you start?
September of 1991.
And when did you retire as a Metro officer?
July 12th of 2012.
And after July 12th of 2012, did you do something else with Metro?
I did for about almost 8.5 years. I was a cold case homicide investigator.
Now, well, let me ask you this. When did you first go to homicide?
In 2003, on July.
So on September 7th of 1996, what was your assignment?
I was a detective in the gang unit on one of the enforcement teams.
What does that mean you did for Metro? What's an enforcement team?
So the enforcement teams are dressed in greens, and we usually have 5 or 6 detectives together, and we would patrol known gang areas and come in contact with gatherings that involved gang members. And then after enforcement, I did 2 years of investigation where I investigated gang-related crimes.
Before I get to your actions on this particular evening, I want to ask you a little bit about how the process of report writing has changed at Metro over the years. You have handled your own cases since the early 2000s, but you also were a cold case investigator, which I assume that means you also have experience with years and years and years before you ever even became a police officer.
Certainly.
Was there a particular way that cases were documented up until the early to mid 2000s?
I mean, I think there's been some changes over time just because of the digital age. And, when I first went to homicide, we were still using typewriters that had the little spinning ball on there and actually typing in triplicate, those types of things. Keeping our notes, handwritten in our notebook. And then it kind of changed over time. Everything went digital, and we started keeping things on the computer.
And so when we're talking 96, there was multiple reports written by officers as they did things because there wasn't the same computerized systems we have today.
That's correct.
Modern day, is there something called a main case report or a main officer's report related to homicides?
Yes, there is.
Explain that to ladies and gentlemen.
So what we normally do, and it kind of depends on the detective themselves. I mean, you probably worked with people that have Post-its all over their desk, and it's a total wreck, and you have no idea what you're looking at, but they know where everything is, and they know how it's organized. We had detectives that were like that. Me personally, I would keep everything on what's called a case management form. So from the very beginning, from the very start of when we got a call, and we're keeping notes in a notebook, all that information go into a case management form. So I wouldn't be initially concerned with an officer's report getting started at any point, because I was using that management form each and every time we did something investigatively. If we took a phone call from, a witness, then I would document that on that form. And at some point, especially if you had somebody that was in custody, you would transfer all that information over into an organized officer's report, which would then have the title at the top. It would have the date and time and location of when the incident occurred, who's involved, who are the suspects, who are the victims, who are the witnesses, and it would be in a chronological order in an investigation. But initially, everything's kept just basically in the management form. Eventually, you want to get to the point where you put together all that information into an officer's report, and there will come a point in time where the individual detective would make the decision that the officer's report's final, right? You would get it signed off. It would be signed off by your sergeant. It would go into the case file, and then from that point, you would just basically be filing addendums as new information came in. You might write that information down on that management form and then do an additional officer's report. That's definitely something that I saw when I went to cold case. Some of the cases that were, 20 years old, every single step that detective did was a completely separate officer's report. So you'd get 15 officers' report in the case file. It definitely made a lot more sense to finally get to one point where we had just one officer's report covering the case.
And in your experience, is it unusual for an officer's report to be the very last thing that's generated by the detective assigned to the particular case?
No, that's not unusual at all.
I want to direct your attention back to September of 1997, and I'm going to put up really two aerials for you first of all, but I'm going to start with State's Exhibit number 1. Can we go back to me? That appears to be an aerial of Las Vegas Valley.
Yes.
Okay. And it's clearly more modern than 1996 because you can see T-Mobile over here and some other things. Is that correct?
Quite a bit different today. Yes, that's true.
And then I'm going to go back and show State's Exhibit number 2. This is a much earlier rendition of the Las Vegas Valley because T-Mobile's not there. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay. And identified on State's Exhibit number 2 is where the I can't move. I can move the mouse away. Where it says Monte Carlo, that's generally where the Park MGM is today.
That's correct.
And at the time, back in 1996, there was a club called the 662 Club on Flamingo. Is that correct?
Yes, very familiar with it.
And is that referenced in State's Exhibit number 2 as well?
It is.
And is that generally the location where it's at?
Correct.
So now I want to jump back to 1. At about 11:17 p.m. On September 7th of 1996, where were you?
We were conducting enforcement activity kind of northeast of the location of Koval and Flamingo.
And did something catch your attention?
Yes. As we were out with a couple, 2-3 gang members, we heard over the radio an officer rather excited, certainly under a stressful situation, reporting shots being fired and requesting a code red on the radio. We weren't very far away, so we cut the guys loose that we were with, got in our vehicles, and with lights and siren, we went over to respond to the area of the Maxim Hotel.
When an officer calls out code red, what does that mean? What is he trying to do?
The code red is so that no other radio traffic is coming across except for what those officers are going through. So it's trying to keep the radio traffic to a minimum So we didn't even announce that we were en route. It's not important for dispatch or really anybody else to know that we were on our way, because we're waiting for updates from that officer or from the officers involved. So we stay off the radio. It's a sacred thing. You don't break the code red unless you really have to get on the radio.
And where do you respond to?
We responded to the intersection of Koval and Flamingo right there at the Maxim Hotel. Now it's called the Westin. But we went into the parking lot on the south side of the Maxim, and where we saw a patrol unit.
At some point, do you walk out onto Flamingo? Well, let me ask you this. When you first arrive, is there traffic still driving eastbound on Flamingo?
Yes, I mean, nothing's changed so far as traffic at that point, because whatever had happened was several minutes before that. So now people are still just driving by. We got to the parking lot. My Sergeant Cindy West, had inquired as to where the shots had come from, and we were able to look out into the street there on Flamingo, just west of Koval, and I saw in the headlights just little glints of light and recognized that. I spent plenty of time on a firing range, and I know what brass looks like on the ground. So we were able to determine where several cartridge cases were located in the street west of Koval on Flamingo.
I'm going to approach and show you State's proposed exhibit 34 to 41. As you look through those, I'm going to grab something from the clerk. Do you recognize those?
I do.
And how do you recognize those?
When we spotted the cartridge cases in the street, at the time my enforcement vehicle was in a Chevy van, and we had a whole bunch of cones. So as we located the cartridge cases there on the roadway, we took a bunch of cones out of my vehicle and actually placed them, in the photographs you'll see it a little bit different, but we placed the cones on top of or over the cartridge cases, so the cones protected where they were located, because you could even see there was at least, I know one for sure, maybe more, that had already been run over by traffic, so it was a little bit mangled. So we protected the crime scene, and we also popped a couple of flares on the north side of the number 3 travel lane where the cartridge cases are located.
And this State's Exhibits 34 through 41 fairly and accurately represent that situation.
Yes, it is.
Move to admit.
No objection, Your
So
Honor.
admit it.
So I'm going to put up 34. And can you just describe for us what we're looking at?
So you can see the cartridge cases are kind of straddling the 2 lanes.
I'll stop you for a second, Mr. O'Kelly.
Yes.
There's a mouse sitting right there. Don't click it. Just it'll freeze up the whole system, but you can use it as a pointer.
Exactly. So these 2 cones that we set up here were more or less to protect where the cartridge cases were located. These other cones are covering the actual cartridge cases in the roadway. The one that's closest to us in this picture is a bullet fragment. It was the furthest away from Koval. And then the other cones are all spent cartridge cases, Winchester, Smith & Wesson 40 caliber cartridge cases.
Do you know a person by the name of Dan Ford?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Dan?
Dan Ford is a senior crime scene analyst that I worked with quite a bit. We started on the department right around the same time. And ran into him several times on cases that I worked with in the gang unit investigations. We also utilized him on the RICO task force that I was on for a couple of years. And then he responded to countless homicide investigations during my career.
Eventually, does Mr. Ford leave the crime scene that was at Harmon and Las Vegas Boulevard and come, and is he the person that takes these pictures and winds up collecting these items?
Yes, he is. Fortunately, Dan was already dispatched to the area of the Maxim for the patrol units that had called out on the radio the shots that were fired. They were taking a report for damaged vehicles that were there, and Dan had already been dispatched to that. So he wasn't far away when the shots rang out, and he was requested to come to that scene.
Sitting there in front of you is State's proposed exhibit 129. Looking at State's proposed exhibit number 129, do you recognize what that item is?
Yes, I do. I've seen and reviewed the handwritten evidence inventory that was authored by Dan Ford. I can see that that's his handwriting. It's also his initials and P number that are on the package for the Winchester cartridge cases.
And then there's a red seal on the back of here. That would have been placed on by Mr. Ford, correct?
The red seal is not, so it's, oh, it is marked up here at the top for his P number. This doesn't look, I don't know, oh, that he wrote the date on that. So 9/7 of 96. So he initialed it in the top corner and then put the date down in the bottom corner, yes.
And all these blue seals are the times that the forensic lab has opened this package in order to look at these items and potentially do some testing.
That's correct. But I do remember from the evidence inventory that that Dan had indicated that these cartridge cases were checked for fingerprints at the time with negative results.
So I'm going to have, well, I guess I'll move to admit 129, Judge.
No objection.
Okay, so admit it.
I'm going to have you cut this not along a seal if there's a place left to
Is
do
there a
it.
place?
I think if we cut right along there, we can pull those items out.
Oh, yeah, down here at the bottom I can. I don't think we have to go too far. Just do that.
And we just pull those items out. These, well, they will eventually be marked 129 G, A through G, but I'm going to show you this one, which has a 14 on the top of it. And you said you remember at least one of them was mangled.
Mm-hmm. This one's flattened on the opening opposite of the head stamp. It's flattened, so it's been run over.
And there appears to be at least one more of these that has some damage to it. And several of them have damage to it. Is that correct?
They're definitely misshapen. A couple of them are. This is actually the closest that I've seen them, because when we came out, we just put the cones right over the top of them, didn't mess with them at all. So I'm able to now look at even the primer impacts, which is significant.
Why is that significant?
Because a Glock pistol has a rectangular opening for the firing pin. It's vertically oriented on the front of the bolt face for a Glock pistol, and you can tell by looking at the primer impact that that's roughly the shape of the impact on the primer.
So that suggests to you that the weapon was a Glock 40.
That's correct.
Now, Detective, or I guess it's Mr. O'Kelly now.
Detective retired. I don't know. Deputy Marshal.
Yeah, Deputy Marshal. There you go. While you're at the scene, are you getting updates on the radio as to potential suspect vehicles that you should be looking for?
Periodically, again, that code red is in effect for quite a while, so there's not a lot of radio traffic that was going on. The call came in initiating the code red at 11:17. We were short distance away, and we went code. Well, we ran code, so we did lights and siren. It didn't take us very long to get there. I know that Sergeant West waited until there was a complete lull in the radio traffic and announced that we were en route and arrived at the same time, and I believe that was at 11:26. We had been there before that, so we were there before 11:20. We were already there at the scene. So at about a little bit past 11:30, we got an update on the rough description of a light-colored Cadillac. I know at some point on the CAD report it said late 90s. It had to be late 80s, right? This is 96. And there was also some indication that it was in good condition, which would say that it was an older vehicle than late 90s, right? So we were looking for a light-colored, possibly white Cadillac with two black male occupants. And there was a report that it was northbound on Audrey, which now Audrey Lane is the Link, right? It's the Link lane. So it's on the west side of the Maxim going north. There was some report that possibly that's where the suspect vehicle had gone.
So initial report says light color Cadillac, last seen northbound on Audrey.
Right, with two black males at that point.
Do you wind up getting updates throughout the evening as to the vehicle you're looking for?
We did. I'd say it was about an hour or so, about 12:45 maybe, right around that time, that we got an update that we were looking for that same white Cadillac in good condition, but potentially occupied now by four black males, and was southbound on Koval. That later made a little bit more sense to us, especially that we were out on the eastbound lanes of Koval, right just short of the intersection, and that the Cadillac had to have been to the south of the BMW, and it made more sense that they would have made a right turn. So that definitely clicked when we were told they were southbound on Koval.
Does there come a point in time when you do what's known as an ATL or attempt to locate that particular vehicle?
Yes. Thankfully, because Dan Ford was not too far away, we were able to get relieved from our protection of the crime scene where the cartridge cases were located. And I think we cleared exactly an hour after the initial code red was called. And that was the first thing that we did was we went south on Koval. We checked areas that we frequented in the gang unit, looking for potentially really any light-colored Cadillac. I mean, the kind of the yellowish lights that we have in town, the street lights that they use for low, so it's not too much light in town. Those can kind of throw you off on color. So we were looking for any light-colored Cadillac.
We'll put back up State's Exhibit 1. During all this time period that you and your partner ATL'd for this white Cadillac, did you ever drive into the parking lot of the carriage house?
No, I can say that in my 35 years, I've never been in the carriage house.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Okay, cross-examination, Mr. Sam.
Sorry, sir, what's your last name again?
O'Kelly, O''Kelley.
Mr. O'Kelly, thank you for being here today. Your testimony, obviously, I would imagine before you were here, you probably reviewed your reports, whatever it is you wrote during that time period.
I didn't write any.
Okay.
Certainly, even after I went to homicide, I wasn't involved in the investigation for this case. I did review the CAD report, the computer-aided dispatch report, noting those times. I don't have that great a memory, so I'm going to have to tell you that. And that handwritten evidence inventory by Dan Ford. I have both copies right here in my notebook.
I see. So at the time you retired as a homicide detective?
I did.
And then at that point, you came back to work as in the cold case unit as an investigator.
I did, yes.
All right. Now, a couple things. First of all, when you retired as a detective with homicide, were there any outstanding reports that you had not drafted when you left?
I can tell you that and people love me, so they got a limousine and we had a big party. So as there was a limousine out in front of headquarters at 400 Martin Luther King, I was typing the last officer's report that I needed to personally finish. I was leaving a partner behind, whose name is also Dean, so he was able to, tie up any of the cases that we had at that point. But I would say there were, but the ones that I knew I needed to get done before I left, I got done.
And the reason why you prioritized those ones is because I would imagine they're still open investigations and you're handing it off to the next person to continue with your work.
That's correct. It makes it easier for them if it's tied up as best we can.
Right. Did you take any of those cases with you when you went over to the cold case unit?
When I came back to cold case, that was the original reason that I even agreed to do cold case homicide investigation was because of unsolved cases that I personally had investigated, one in particular. So as soon as I came back to cold case homicide, the very first thing I did was go and pull Jamie Sheldon's case and bring it over to my desk. That's the first case that went there. And was able to work, I was honored to be able to work on cases like that and others that I had been a part of when I was a detective, yes.
So in terms of, just explain to the jury what a cold case is. Can you explain that?
Certainly. So a cold case is officially cold when the detectives who are originally